Welcome back to the gun bench. So today's going to be a little bit different because if you notice, there's only one barrel on this gun. So this is a Remington Sidecocker. I have a real affinity for these fun little guns. This one in particular is a Model 9 or the Model 1902 Remington. So they're a cool little gun. They're made for about 8 years, from 1902 to about 1910, in a bunch of different gauges. So this one's a 12 gauge with 30-inch barrels. You get them in a few different gauges, some strange ones too that we don't really load for these days. But they would have 30, 32, maybe even 34-inch barrels. But this is Remington's second attempt. It was their second attempt at a gun that was made specifically for shot shells as a single action. So they had all the rolling blocks, and then they had the 1893, the Model 3, which predates this, but is also a Sidecocker. And that was made for about 10 years and even overlapped this. But in any case, I just had this thing out hunting. I have a few of them. They're pretty cool little guns. As you can tell, this thing's a little beat. Screws are boogered. The metal's beat. The wood's beat. It's an honestly used gun. But they're pretty cool little guns. Now, for identification, I mean, these are marked all over them what they are. So you can see they're Remington Arms, Ilion, New York. It's also marked on the barrel. Then even under the barrel, it'll tell you the gauge, which is pretty nice because some of these older guns don't tell you that. But this guy in particular, it looks a lot like Remington's Model 3, the 1893. The biggest difference that is the big tell for these is this little piece here. So if you have an 1893, there will be a push button release here, and the forearm comes off, and that'll help you get the barrels off. For the Model 9s, like this guy, it's actually easier to do it with the gun open. You pull this up, this little pin pops out, and voila, you've broken your gun down in half. Now, another thing that's different about this and their first iteration, the 1893, this has an automatic ejector, which is standard. 1893 didn't have that. But these are cool little guns, cool little pieces of American history. There's about 50,000 of them made between the 1893 and this one, the 1902. But they're really cool. I just had this thing out hunting. It's going to get cleaned up here real quickly, get it back in the safe. But if you do come across them, I mean, you can get these for under $100 still. They're pretty solid shotguns. Only word of caution is the Sidecockers. The 1893, so the earlier model, not this one. I have one sitting a few feet over there. The parts for them, especially if anything breaks and the springs in here are prone to break, are very hard to replace. You're going to end up making them yourself. They don't come up too terribly often. The 1902, the Model 9 here, a little easier to get parts for. So if you have the older version, like the one I have sitting over here, heck, I'll just show it to you. I actually have mine apart because I need to make a new spring for in here. But you'll tell, push button release here, a little bit different part of the action. Still pretty cool guns, and they are great to hunt with. They come with 30, 32, or 34-inch barrels made in a bunch of different gauges. The 1893, the one I just showed you, they come in 12, 15, 20, 10, 24, and 28 gauge. These guys don't come in quite as much, but they're pretty easy to find in 12 gauge and 20. I have a 20 gauge in the safe over there too. But I just want to give you a quick overview of these little guns. Again, this is the Remington 1902, also known as the Model 9. And it is Remington's second attempt at a gun that fires shot shells exclusively. The 1893, the one I just showed you, was the first attempt. If I ever get that thing, if I ever get the spring fixed on that, I'll do a little video on that. But in any case, I'm going to clean this guy real quickly, get it back in the safe. But if you do see these, they're pretty cool. They're fun to hunt with. And I honestly think that they're easier to decock than the ones that have the hammers in the back. So maybe if you have a younger kid, this might be a little bit of a safer option. But if you see them, they're cool. They're usually pretty cheap too. Grab one and shoot something with it.